Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Hong Kong U Law Tech Talk today. I'm Dr. Clement Chen of the Faculty of Law. We are very pleased to have invited Professor Naik to stay with us today to present his research on an intriguing topic, which is the personhood of artificial intelligence, which I believe many of us have great interest in this topic. Before the presentation begins, allow me to introduce our presenter. Professor Chakravarthy Naik is an assistant professor at the Alliance University School of Law, India. His areas of research are intellectual property rights, environmental law, and criminal law, with rich publications on law journals and books. Professor Naik holds a Master of Law degree in intellectual property rights from the Nassar University of Law, Hyderabad. And he is pursuing his PhD from National University of Study and Research in Law at Ranchi, India. He has also enrolled as an advocate under the Telangana Bar Council and has practiced in the field of intellectual property rights. Without further ado, let's expect Professor Naik's talk. Professor Naik, the forum is yours.
Yeah, thank you so much, Clint. It was great interaction from your side. And let's begin our talk for today. Shall we start?
Yes.
Can I share my...
Yes, please share your screen.
Hope this is visible for you and audible.
Yes, I can see the screen. Thank you.
So very good afternoon to all the participants and the panelists who have attended for today's session. A very good afternoon to one and all. And today I'll be talking on the topic known as gauging the undertone of legal personhood of artificial intelligence. So this is one of the most darkened shade of a topic that which we need to know about whether to give the artificial intelligence to be recognized as a legal person or not. So in that juncture, today our talk will be initiated with it with an hypothetical situation. For instance, a robot is there which has been there in a restaurant where Mr. X have visited to that restaurant, and he has asked for the any of those dishes that what he would like to have it, and he accordingly the robot has made all the dish whatever it needed for the Mr. person who have that is Mr. X who have visited there, and the same thing has given to the person Mr. X by the robot, which was the chef. So later, after consuming that whatsoever the dish that is being given and which is being ordered by Mr. X, so in the subsequent day, the Mr. X has been hospitalized. Mr. X has been hospitalized. Now here the point is, now Mr. X wants to file a case against to the restaurant where the robo is one of the chef where it has been there. So when the case has been filed before any of those court against the restaurant owner, then the restaurant owner says that I'm not responsible. The robo is being responsible. The program owner is being responsible. The manufacturer, the developer of that robo is being responsible. I'm just a consumer of that product. I'm just using of it. So he's been escaping from that current situation. As in the same, when the file has been filed against to the programmer or the developer of that robo, he says that whatever it is need to be performed, it has been performed accordingly. It is not the mistake from my side. It is a mistake of the functioning of artificial intelligence. Now the question here points that can we sue the artificial intelligence? Here the biggest legal question that it comes. This is not only the problem in one sector, it is being problem in every of those sectors, be it in any of those sectors which have been there in and around the globe, be it in health industry, be it in entertainment, be it in the social entertainment, whatsoever the artificial intelligence, the technology that what we are using, there are a lot of loopholes that what we have been facing today. So so here the biggest question that comes to us to understand who will be the responsible for the instance of the act that has happened, the functioning of artificial malign functioning of artificial intelligence. I can come a quote with saying that, as for instance, a tailor makes a mistake, it comes as a new fashion. A doctor makes a mistake, it's a new diagnostics. A architecture makes a mistake, it is a new design. A lawyer makes a mistake, it's a new law. A judge makes a mistake, it is a new interpretation of law. But here, the technology makes a mistake means it is a human disruptions. Why? Because none of anywhere the human representation is not been there. So we should be very careful for the instance how our technology that we are using in today's scenario. In this perspective, we'll look into the various aspects of artificial intelligence. What is the legal stand, how it is being dealing with it in jurisprudential perspective, how it talks about that we'll be talking in today's scenario. So before going into it, I'll be talking in today's session with the importance of AI and the legal stand of jurisprudential, how AI is being dealing with it. For instance, let us go into the changing world, the system that what we're having. So initially the computers were used as a tools to perform any of the task, the human task to record the data or to calculate. Those were the initial stage that used to happen. But due to the advance of artificial intelligence, the artificial intelligence itself, the computers are itself autonomously are being functioning without without the human interference, where the minimal interference of human is being there. So where I can say it as, from when we talk about the 1 century ago, 1921 to today's scenario 2021, in this 100 years of span, we have seen the different phases. Like there was a telephonic era where the telephones were the key change of the development that was being there for the transaction that used to happen. Then after the internet era was being there, which has been introduced and which has been a transformation for the entire globe that has happened. Now the advance of internet and the advance of technology, AI has been emerged. AI has been spread in all around the corner of the world with whatsoever that what we do it. In every of those aspects, AI is being part of it. So I strongly say this: the world is moving towards the transformation in evolving new technologies, especially artificial intelligence, or and the machine learning and other aspects that is being there. So in this entire era, that what I've been talking about, from telephonic era to this artificial intelligence, you can see which we have witnessed, where how the telephones were there at the initial levels, and where there were been the landlines, there were been the cardless phones. Now it has been cell phone. Now it has been more advanced, the touch phone. Now the more the technology that is being developing in much more advanced stage. So here the point that I would like to make you to understand is that technology is going to be an ever evolving process. We don't know how it is going to change its phase day by day. So it's utmost important to us to monitor it. That's the question that I would like to make you to understand here, that here how we should monitor this technological huge development tremendously that has been taking place. So for which uh, for all this thing happening, the major crux or the base is known as an intelligence, that what it is being designated. So intelligence is nothing but it is a cornerstone for the human development, which we have witnessed from the ancient time to the medieval time to the modern time. uh, Due to the intelligence itself, we what we are standing or what we are having today as a homo sapiens, as a most special features of the living creatures that what we been today. So it is all because of the intelligence that what we have, the human development that what we have seen, if from the ancient time to the medieval time to the modern time, which we have seen at several civilizations like Indian civilization, Chinese civilization, and Roman civilization. These are all the things why it has happened. It has happened only because of the intelligence that what we have it. And one more point that I would like to make you to understand is that is the point. See, as a human being, as a man, human races are different ways. Like there are Mongolites, there are Nugurites, there are Astrolites, there are Casturians. Though we physically are being very different, but there is only one common factor, that be it in any of these races, that what just I've mentioned you. So in this, the common factor is the intelligence. Intelligence is the only one factor that made us to be so special towards us. So where I can say it as intelligence is one such kind of a quality where the understanding to be a better one from others. So after to that of human intelligence, we to whom we haven't given to any of the animals, we haven't given to any of the environment, to or any of the living creatures. We have given to a technology. That technology is known as an artificial intelligence. So here we have designated such a great importance to the artificial intelligence. So no one will deny the statement that I'm stating to you. The human intelligence, that is one such kind of factor that is making to develop these things, and where the and we have designated to the artificial intelligence. So we are making to move parallelly. How human intelligence with par with the artificial intelligence is equal version in advanced version, that which we have been dealing with it. So I hope everyone says understands what I mean to say it is. So, and one more point that I would like to make you to understand is that, so here the point that I would like to understand the basic crux of what is artificial intelligence. So artificial intelligence is the wide range of a branch of computer science that deals with giving machines the ability to seem they have the human intelligence. So we, though it is artificial narrow intelligence, artificial general intelligence, artificial the broader intelligence, what we have different types of artificial intelligence. Is a compute. It's a one kind of branch where the machine is being able to do all the activities of the human needs and requirement of the tasks that need to be performed. So I quote this artificial intelligence, that what is being there in our society as an infocentric element in the world that is going to be dealing with. So it is no more secret that artificial intelligence is going to be a game changer in the human development. That what we have witnessed at several instances, that by recognizing artificial intelligence, by giving as a legal person, especially Sophia, where the robo was being designed by the Hong Kong company. Because as one of such things, so it's one of the greatest thing that is going to be happening in this today's scenario, and the great importance is there for the artificial intelligence in the society. So so here, artificial intelligence has penetrated into every possible sphere that what we have it of our life, as AI based tools have comfortably has found their place in different sectors like health sector, entertainment sector, navigation sector, finance, marketing sectors, business, data security, manufacturing, automobiles industry, and so on and so forth. That it is very clear that this artificial intelligence is not going to stop in any of those fields. It is going to be at most highest level more than what we have it in today's scenario. So for instance, in the health industry today, there are the instances where the robots are being used for the doing any of the surgeries. At the same time, there are the instances where in automobile industries where automatic vehicles are being used, like companies like Tesla and all those companies, as due to the AI itself, the entertainment that is being there, what we call it as Netflix and all those things, it is being performed. So artificial intelligence is being there in every of those spheres in this 21st century world, what we are being there. So how it has been developed? It is used by certain kinds of techniques like like logical programming, logic, problematic reasoning, knowledge reasoning, machine learning, algorithm, deep learning, so on and so forth. These are some of the techniques which are used for the development of the softwares, development of the artificial intelligence, robots, or whatsoever that is being there. So today's scenario, how it is being there, the development of AI is in that way where it has the ability or the capability to rationalize, to choose among the best, as an example I can quote in intellectual property rights, where certain kinds of machine like creative machines which are imbibed with the software of artificial natural network installed, where it is used for identifying, for dealing with it, for example, by using this creative machines, where it creates certain kinds of functions, where as an example of cross bristle toothbrush, that what we use at the toothbrush, that it functions according to it. Same in the wise invention machine that is being used, genetic programming to which is used for the biological fields in evolutions like mutation, natural selections, or sexual combinations, or any of the which is can be achieved only by digitally. So here this invention mission is also one of the best chosen process of artificial intelligence, as are one of the different types which are being there, which are different segregated, like artificial narrow intelligence, artificial general intelligence, artificial super intelligence. So all those things, how it has developed, this has all been developed by the thinking cognitive abilities that are being there as equal to the human beings. So like that, we are making to use it as an example of today's many common utility items that we use it, have some of inbuilt AIs, that is Alexa, Siri, Google assistants, and so on, so forth. That is one of the things that I've been facing. So the main point that I would like to talk about, the today's point that I would like to make you to understand, that's we have seen the aspects of how AI is being developing from past to the present, and how it is going to lead for the future. We don't know about those things. So I can strongly say this: the men and missions are the most debatable topic in this earth, or in this generation. So it is no of those nations, be it a developed nation, be it developing nation, or underdeveloping nation, no one has denied the importance of artificial intelligence in governance of the any of the state. So the even the United Nations also has been recognized. This is one of the important area that it need to be regulated, it need to be scrutinized in proper way, where there cannot be there any kind of loopholes or any sort of wrongful aspects that can be dealing with it. So in that understanding, the internationally, the global forum has also have understood the importance of artificial intelligence, the if there is any sort of wrong that is going to happen, what is going to be the consequences, how it need to be challenged, what are the precautionary things that need to be taken for instance, all the international institutions, like for instance, the United Nations Intra-Regional Crime Justice Research Institute has recognized and established and focused of how AI is going to be indulged the problems that are being facing. So the United Nations only have understood this, the importance of artificial intelligence. Same as World Economic Forum has also understood that the economical development that is going to happen by utilization of artificial intelligence. So there should not be there any sort of chaos, or the pros and cons have to be monitored appropriately. So they have also have understood when it even at the international organization like WIPO, World Intellectual Property Organization, also have understood that the great importance of intellectual property rights, where it need to be go hand in hand the artificial intelligence. So in that due process of the WIPO also have started, it has also have started regulating the rules and regulations, how it need to be monitored, how it need to be regulated, the due process of due diligence of artificial intelligence by international forums, not by which the great importance that has been taking place by us. In this, not only this, even by the European Union's recently in the year 2021 of April, that they have recognized they should have a legal framework of artificial intelligence, how it need to be monitored, and what are the rules and regulations that has to be taken into consideration. As in the same way, United States are also have recognize the great importance, especially in the automobile industry. They have come up with certain kinds of laws in the way of transport rules and regulations. As in the same way, United Kingdom in the year 2017, that they have come up with the new rules and regulations for using the artificial intelligence. Same in the case, the German laws also have started of using this rules and regulations in monitoring the artificial intelligence, especially I think in the transport industry, that is monitoring the traffic signals, all those things that is being talked under the German laws. As in the Japan also, which they have also a roadmap for the development in the industrial utilization of artificial intelligence, how it need to be monitored, what are the regulations that need to be regularized for dealing with it. So I strongly believe this. There is no such kind of state or the nation which is being deniable of the fact that artificial intelligence is going to be the game changer or going to be the face of the new generation. So this is one of the most debatable topic, and how it need to be regulated, what are the ways that need to be regulated, or this is a greatest question mark in need of a R to be questioned. And the when it comes to the futurology, the futurology is one such kind of subject where it talks about the social science, where how society is being involved with the technology, what are the advancement and how the advancement is being taking place, how people are being affected, the study that is known as in a futurology, where the futurologist says that how we have in telephone or the internet, that what we have used 2G, 3G, 4G or 5G, that which we have been using, same with part of those things with the artificial intelligence also. We are at the stage of the first or second generation. Soon after 2 to 3 decades, there is no deniable of the fact that robots are going to be roaming around with us in our society. What is being said within 2 to 3 decades, which is going to be happening these things. Right now, we also sorry. Right now, we also have witnessed at certain kinds of restaurants or the hotels where the AI, the robots are being acting as a receptionist to deal with the queries that what it has been there. So that which is going to be more in advance. So as I gave you an example, as a chef in robos, that is going to be as an at the initial level, that it is not only for one or two restaurants that is going to be there, it is going to be the most of the restaurants in the future who can be affordable of utilizing of it. So by which who are going to be affected. So there is a study which has been happening that in the world, the in coming 2 to 3 decades, there is going to be 10% of depreciation of human labor due to the advance of the artificial intelligence. This is a study which gave a great importance. So why? What are the reason behind this? Why are the reasons? Because is the human, if the human is being involved in dealing of all those tasks, human will be tired, human will be will not be performing according to the after it at certain point of time. But whereas the machines, if it is being programmed, if it is being controlled appropriately, it shall function 24/7 without any kind of careless. So this is one of the study that is being happening, and this is the future that what we are going to have in having after 2 to 3 decades or more than that, by 50 years or the half century, that what we have been seeing. There will be a definitely there will be a day how I just have mentioned at the starting of our lecture. There was a telephonic era, there is an internet era, there is an advancement of artificial intelligence era. Same in the way after 50 years there will be saying the initial level of AI and the advanced level of AI. There will be a comparison how people are going to be involved with it. This is a very interesting. We all should be aware of it, and uh, uh, we cannot neglect the importance of AI in the society, that what we have been seeing. So these are all the good points that I'm making to understand about the artificial intelligence. Now here the question comes, the most important point. So here, that is the legal issues. So how this is one of the most utmost neglected thing that what has been happening, that I mentioned you that internationally, nationally, which is being recognized, the importance of AI, that is by United Nations, by United Nation organs, and by European Unions, the most developed countries, most developing countries, as in this way that has been there. So they are, it's only been talking about the rules and regulations. They have been not been discussing about the issues, how it is going to be dealing with it. So as for instance, as I told you an example, that if AI, the robo that is going to be indulging with any kind of surgery or the operation, if it has been wrongfully have conducted, the is AI will be the responsible? This is one of the legal important questions that we need to understand the importance. So how the artificial intelligence is going to perform. As we all know, the human intelligence are two ways, the human that it deals with it. One is by verbal intelligence and other one is the performance intelligence. So human can rectify those things, but artificial intelligence, it only performs, it does not have the capacity to deal with in par with the human. So for all those legal issues, in terms of dealing with it, as I mentioned you, and one of the major important reason for the legal issues for the artificial intelligence is the representation, which means that artificial intelligence itself is an autonomous which functions itself. So there is, it only does the activity, it only makes the function. So human has been a minimal interference in dealing with it. So the question that is being a legal issues that are being very varying from point to point. Yes, we can say it as for the narrow artificial intelligence and artificial in general, they can be sorted out with certain kind of giving some legal remedies to the legal issues that are being there, but not for the artificial super intelligence, what has been with the ability of cognitibility abilities that equal to the human intelligence, that what we have it. So this is the utmost most important things that which we need to be understand of AI, the legal issues, as one of the representation, accountability, and morality is also is one of such kind of factors that are really causing for the great damage by using the artificial intelligence as a technology. So how it need to be challenged and how it can be overtaken and how it should be protected under the legal framework. For that reason, we are going to have a proper legal stand, and where the proposition has been dealing with it is utmost important things that which need to be understand by us. So as a layman, where we can understand about the artificial intelligence, there are two important professionals who have the capability or the concern regarding the functioning of artificial intelligence. First one would be the technical professionals, be it any kind of data scientist or any of the engineers or any of the tech experts who are the person responsible in developing, in functioning without any kind of errors. Okay, so this is their primary duty to deal with it. So they are the persons who can monitor it. So that is who shall be the first tier of the persons who shall be responsible for functioning or governing of artificial intelligence in the technical field, where at most important that where we can understand. Now when this any of those technology or the software, the program that has come into the society in functioning of it, as I told you, there are certain way outs where it talks about where it talks about the issues as the accountability, the representation or morality gap that which will be addressed by only by the legal professionals. Legal professionals are the one who are going to deal with, be it any kind of academician, be it any kind of jurist, or be it any kind of lawyers or whosoever is there. Where I can say it as today we don't have a proper understanding of laws as a framework. So we should not leave the hope. So as I can also quote for this, where there is a will, there is a way, where there is a way, there is a light, where there is a light, there is a life, where there is a life, there is a law, where there is a law, there is a rule. Where there is a rule, there is a loophole. Where there is a loophole, there is a lawyer. In today's scenario, there is a loophole where need to be assisting legal assistance should be required from the legal academia to the practitioners, especially to the lawyers or the jurists or the judges, whosoever it is being there. So it is an utmost important thing. The legal professionals and technical professionals are being considered as a gatekeepers or the custodian for this info-centric world, that the which is more important to understand of us, the legal professionals. So to how we can be recognizing it, this artificial intelligence, how the legal frame shall be developed. So for which, when we talk about in jurisprudential, there is a concept called legal person. This is the concept where it gives the rights and duties to each and every person to govern as per the rules and regulations of the society. So it is nothing but a legal personality is a jurisprudential concept which emphasizes on natural person and non-natural person. So natural person means the human being, and non-natural person means who does not have a life, be it any of those things. As an example of corporations, as an example of international organizations, or any of trust. These are the certain examples for the natural person and non-natural person. So but how it need to be governed and what are the functions that it deals with it. As a legal person addresses the ideas of a non natural person being need to be considered as a natural persons in the eyes of law, by giving the legal personhood primarily talks about the rights and duties. These are the certain things that need to be performed, and these are the certain things that need to be followed in a society as a true follower of the citizen, that have to imbibe the rights and duties of each and every governance that have to be taken forth. So rights and duties are being amalgamated, what we can say it as a legal person. So by this, where we can understand that there are two important persons will be considered as a legal persons. One is natural person, other one is a non-natural person. Natural person means the human being, non-natural person means who does not have a life, like corporations, the international organizations. For all the human beings will not be considered. There are certain criteria, like they should be living, they should have been taken by birth, they should be having the sentiment, that is by feelings, sufferings, rationalizing all those things for the natural person. For the non-natural persons, which we'll be eventually talking about, for all of these things to govern in a society, they should be given by the rights and duties as a legal person. So when we talk about this legal person jurisprudentially, which has given a great definitions by different jurists at different stages by their intelligent thoughts. When we talk about the Black Laws Dictionary, any being whom the law regards capable of rights and duties. So according to the Black Law Dictionary, what it says is any being, be it a natural person or be it a non-natural person, which is being recognized, which is being regarded with capable of rights and duties by the law, then it is being said as a legal person. As an example, as I mentioned, your corporation is an example for that. Okay, so according to the John Dewey, what it says that is a person might legally meant whatever the law makes it mean. As an example, I can give you slaves or the women were never in the past, it is not being considered as a persons. So but eventually, due to the transformation, due to the law recognition, a person legally meant whatever the law makes it mean, which means that those slavery persons, and the woman or unborn child is also being considered as a person, which was not being considered in the initial stages. But in today's scenario, all there is no slavery, there is the woman is being given all the rights, as in the same wise the unborn child also has an utmost rights to protect his own interest for the future. That is what is being talked by the John Dewey in his quotation. And the most important person that in this legal person word topic, that been given by a lot of great importance, the jurist known as Salmon. So, according to him, a person is a being whom the law regards as capable of rights and duties, whether it is a human being or non-human being. So, if law thinks that they need to be given certain kinds of rights, which means that they should be given, at the same time duties will also need to be performed. So for instance, a disabled child has been there, so his right is to be governed. His There is an interest for his, to provide all the needs and necessity facilities that need to be by in form of any kind of representation or to safeguard. It is a duty of the state to provide all those things. That's what this is, what it is at most to understand as a person is being whom law regards as capable of rights and duties, whether it is be a human being or non-human being. So a disabled child is one of the good example what I can make you to understand. And further, the Solomon also says that Solomon also provides that a distinction between natural and legal person. He regards natural person as being whom have been endowed with the personality by the law. So here the natural person will always have a legal personality endued by the law in accordance with the reality and the truth, which means that there should be a having an existence for that. What it is being said for a natural person, as I mentioned you, that they should have been having a birth, they should be having a life, they should be having a sentiment, that is the feelings, that is suffering, that is the rationalizing. All these elements shall be there as for the natural person. That's the reality and the truth that need to be exist in a society. So those persons are being considered as a legal person, as a natural person. So when it comes to the non-legal person, that is legal person as being that could be real or imaginary, to whom the personality is being attributed by way of fiction. So it's a fictionary thing that is going to giving the legal person tag towards any of those corporations or towards any of the international organization, towards any kind of a woman, unborn child, the disabled child or disabled person, or any animals that whatsoever it is been there. So it's all the fictionary things. For that also to govern in our society, there is a need for maintaining of all those things. For that, they should not be exploited, they should not be involved with any of the wrongful acts towards those actions. For that, there is a concept of legal personhood has been designated to that by form of a tag of personhood is being given to them. So here the concept has been very clear. The concept of human being and legal person were designated, and the persons and the word person also started getting used, defined as a human like being. So there is no differentiation between both of them. The human like being are being treated for the both the human beings and also the legal persons, what according to the Salmon, what the extension of approach of his understanding of a legal person, what it exactly talks and understanding of the person word. So before not only these, not only this of the some of the jurists, there are some of the other jurists who also have given their approach in understanding what is the person word. For the first instance, Gias is a Roman scholar. For the first time, he has the only person who has made the concept of legal person word to be existence by stating there are two kinds of laws. One is law of person and law of things. Law of person, which means that for the human being, and law of things means that for the non-human beings. So for the first time, Gears is our Roman scholar who has defined the importance of legal person word. So then after he is known as the humanist and the professor of law who has developed the concept of person word, who is being responsible for the development of the concept of legal person word. The person, which means according to him, who should be having a who should be a free individual by holding civil and political rights, and also should be bearing the responsibilities. These are the utmost important thing to understand the concept of personhood, which has been developed by Hegels. And then after the Roman Voltages is one of the other scholar that the jurists who have given a great importance of the human being always should be having by certain kinds of legal standing. Like an example, right to vote. right to have and right to education. These are the certain kinds of the civil standing in a society. If a person whosoever is being there, that need to be governed with for a human being. That's what is being talked about, the importance of it. So then after Hugo Gerriters, Samuel von Prodorf as another person jurist who has talked about the person served as a central notion of attribution of rights and duties are the utmost important thing that need to be understand, that the basic importance of the personhood, what is being defined by different jurists at different intervals of the time, and due to which we have interpreted in different ways in understanding with by incorporating with different kinds of theories, different kinds of way outs in understanding it. In one such kind of important theories like interest theory, will theory, natural right theory, which talks about the great importance of legal person. So what is the interest theory, which is being coined by the Jeremy Bentham? What, according to the interest theory, what it says is any entity holds a right where there is a collaborative duty. So in the interest of the right holder, this is the most important thing. Every entity is going to have a right with collaborative of a duty to perform it. So at the same time, the right holder should have an interest of dealing with it. So according to the interest theory, what it talks about, the interest theory also says that interest can be held by those who can capable of seeing and precisely things what is being said. As an example of unborn child, disabled child, or animals, which is being there, for instance, where there should have the interest for designating of any of the personhood that need to be protected. As an unborn child in the womb of mother, if the child is being owned by any of the property, that need to be governed by any of the guardian or by mother itself, which need to be provided the legal stand by the state in dealing with it. As in the same case, disabled child is also one such kind of things. So the entity whichever so it is being there, there should be have a right which is being correlating with a duty. That's what it is according to the interest theory, what it talks about. According to will theory, the holding of rights by an entity is equated and controlled over its duties. For instance, as a citizen, every citizen has a right to vote, right to education, right to livelihood. So, for instance, right to vote, every citizen has a right to vote. For as whenever he is going to cast his vote, the state has to, it's a duty to provide all the facilities whenever he is going to vote as an individual in any of the electing process, by creating the voting system in a proper legal framework where his vote is going to be a valid one. The process that need to be there, that is being talked by creating proper AMIs, that by giving proper shelter to them, the state responsible that need to be taken in consideration. So as in this, which animals are also being protected for the interest of the more at larger section, and the environment is also going to be protected at larger instance. So not only these two theories that talks about the great importance of the legal person, but also by the natural right theory is one of the most advanced theory in the recent framework, which is being coined by the Christopher Stone, who has come up with a concept of environmental personhood. So today, the how we are being par with the development of technology, that much of decline of environmental crisis. This is an utmost important thing which has been talked at Stockholm conference or the Rio conference, or all the be any of the protocols in or any of those conferences that which has been held under the earth of globe for the protection of environment. That's every of those things how we are going to protect are the basic environmental natural rights, naturally how it need to preserve. That's what which we need to be focused for that reason. This one such kind of process that has been made by the Christopher Stone, that has come up with the concept of environmental personhood. So be it any kind of environment, be it forest, be it rivers, be it any kind of any of animals, if you designate within a concept of legal personhood, which means that if you provide the rights, towards those animals, they shall be protected, they shall be governed, not only for the present generation, for also the future generation, according to the Rio declaration. What this is one of the important principle what has been there. So how the, as these environment cannot protect by themselves, they should be protected, they should be guarded by certain persons who have the interest in dealing with it, or to represent, to protect the nature by in form of a guardian. So there must be a guardian to represent the nature and oversee its affairs, to speak and defend against to them. So this is a very advanced concept where it is been talking about, where it has been dealt with it, where, by changing the face in the process that in coming slides we'll be talking about much more in detail about this environmental personhood. So not only these theories, there are other theories which also talks about the importance of legal personhood. So as in Kelsen theory, what it says that legal person is only a technical personification for the purpose of asserting the rights and duties and the liabilities. So be it any human being, natural person, or that is human being or non-human being, it is only technical personification that is going to designated by form of an rights, by form of an duties, by form of an liabilities. So that's the most important and utmost thing, that is what is needed and what is required for us to understand. So legal personhood of an entity enables the legal device to organize the rights and liabilities, what is being said according to the Kelsen theory. Whereas in the fiction theory, no non-human entities having the personality, because the legal system chosen to give in them, as an example, ships or international organization, corporations, idols. In that perspective, all these are all the non-human entities. The state, the legal system of the state, have chosen to give them, to protect the interest of the society, to protect the interest of the people. So that's what it is being talked under the fiction theory. When it comes to the realistic theory, confers the personality to non-human entities as a matter of a right. This is the utmost, this is one of the important thing, that where this artificial intelligence, where we can closely think about in all this perspective. So the conferring the personality to non-human entities as a matter of a right. So how these rights need to be designated, how these are the things that need to be provided. So by looking into all these theories, where we are standing of our artificial intelligence, to designated with the rights and duties, where it fits with, does it fits with the interest theory, does it fits with the will theory, does it fits with the natural theory, or Kelsen theory, fiction theory, or realistic theory, how it deals with it, or we need to come up with a new theories, what in the jurisprudential perspective. That is one of the most debated thing that has been happening in the area of legal field. So this is in the light of the theories decide whether AI holds the rights and duties, and therefore should be granted the personhood or not. So in every of those things, if you have looked into it, the non-human beings, whichsoever it is been there, the entities that is been there, they have given the personhood by designating the rights and duties. Why? Because the most important thing for giving them is there is a representation of human being behind them. That's the whole point of understand by us, at the need of ours. So, but whereas in artificial intelligence is an autonomous thing. Okay, so it autonomously deals with it. There is no need of human representation. So in this theories, it is very difficult to fit. If it is going to fit, we need to be altered to it. So for all these things, which need to be a great debatable topic that is going to be happening in the legal era. So for this, there is a paradigm shift of legal personhood that has been happening from the homocentric phase to the anthropocentric phase, towards the eco-centric phase to the infocentric phase. So this is one of the greatest thing that has happened in the human history. For the protection of the interest of the people, for the interest of the society, for the interest of the state, so for the interest of the more at the global level. So for which it has been recognized the legal personhood at the various instances. Initially, if you, as I mentioned, that the jurist approach, the ideas, we've been only talking about the great importance to the human beings, but not to the non-entities. But in due process of our interest, we have designated the legal personhood to the non-entities like corporations. So corporations are solo proprietary perpetual succession, where they can sue, where can be sued, where limited liability is being there for that. For this is what it is being designated, but for the corporation, especially in the landmark cases like Solomon versus Solomon, Lee versus Lee, which has given a great development, the corporation should be considered as a legal person. At this phase, this is the nature where we say it as, where I can say it as, it is a homocentric era. Why? Because they are being focused of the great importance for the human being. So that's the reason for the protection of the corporations, for in the interest of the people, they have given the designation of the legal person by where the corporations, or whereby the companies, where they can have their own property, where they can be sued or to be sued, where they be limited liability, where they can have their special legal statute in protecting by themselves, be it the person is being there or not, the member is being very only for the temporary sake, but the corporations are the permanent structures, the companies, that what it is been as an example, what we say it as. This is a homocentric phase. When it comes to the anthropocentric era, in this anthroponic era, it focuses on the human kind, where the idols are the juristic persons which are being given. In Indian perspective, there are cases like Yoginder Nath Naskar versus Commissioner of Income Tax. In this, where they say is about us, idols also can be designated with the legal person, by where they can have the own the property, where they can pay the taxes, where they can be sued, where they can be to be sued. The members will be very limited. The what is being talked, and the more in particularly at the Indian perspective, this is one case, and which has been given a great importance. The idols can also holds the property, where it can be sued by any of those acts that are been happening against to that person. So when it comes to the great importance, the eco-centric era, this is the most important thing what we are being seeing, and what we are being dealing with it. So environment is utmost most important thing for the human surveillance. To protect that, due to the human exploitation, we need to be protect our environment. Though we have a lot of legislations globally or internationally which has been talked about, but there are in implementation it has been very lacking. There in implementation with the exploiters are being minimally punished, or there is no voice to protect the environment or the animals in that concern. So for that reason environment and animals has given a personhood tag. For instance, in environment, like recently the Wongwe river that has been there in the New Zealand, which has given the personhood tag to protect the river of Wongwe, which is the third largest river in the New Zealand country, that has been there to protect the Maori tribes, the ecosystem, the flora and fauna that need to be protected for the people. That's the personhood tag has been given to the river. So same as in Indian perspective, also recently we have also have given to our holy rivers like Ganga and Yamuna the legal personhood tag. So why? What are the reasons behind us? Reason behind us, there should not be there any kind of exploitation. They should be nurtured with all the precautionary things that need to be protected for the environmental proper things that need to be sustained. For that reason, they should be given the rights, for which if whosoever is being defaulting those things, they shall be punished. If once it is being given the legal rights, there is a duty. When whoever is being violating, they shall be punished, which was not being there in any of those laws in more stringent form. So likewise, the environment has been considered as an Indian perspective. Indian Ganga and Yamuna are the holy rivers that is being considered. As in the Bolivia, Ecuador, are the certain other also countries which has considered as a earth in their constitution. Bolivia, where it talks of Mother Earth, a great importance of their protection of the environment as a legal person would. If they should have a right, which means that they should be having a duty at the same time, which need to be protected the environment, what is being said. Same in the United States also, which also has been considered in one of the peninsular state. They have considered they should not be there any kind of exploitation of the environment, what is being talked about. Same in the concern with the animals also. So animals are, some of the animals like chimpanzees, whales are also being considered as a legal person. Why? Because these are the most intelligent animals. According to a study which says that whales are the most intelligent animals that were equal to the human being. They also have a language, they also have the feelings, they also have the sufferings, what is being studied. For that, to protect these endangered species, if they've been designated with the rights and duties, they will be protected at large, what is being said and what is being given at the various stages. In there is a famous scholar, Steve Wise, who has talked about the importance of animals like chimpanzee that need to be given the legal personhood. Why? Because they are also more thinking capabilities, the thinking cognitive abilities are equal to the power of the human being that has been there, and they should not be misused. They should be protected, as in the sense, due to which in the debate from at more at large, it has given the legal personhood tag in protecting the the animals. So when it talks from the corporations, when it talks from the ideals, when it talks from the point of the environment and animals, in this homocentric era or the anthropocentric era or the ecocentric era, in this all these things, there is a human representation for that. If there is any kind of violation, there is a representation of human being to control those things. This is the thing that is been there. But in artificial intelligence, it is an infocentric era. If we give it the legal rights, if we give the legal duties, how we should be governed, how it should be performed, that's what it is. A greatest question, the need of R that is being there for us to understand by all of us. There is a where we can understand by the artificial intelligence. We should be developed, we should be advanced in all those probabilities, but there is a lot of legal issues that are being facing by the artificial intelligence. For instance, accountability. Who shall be accountable? As an example, with an starting of the chef has made certain dish, but whether the artificial intelligence robo is being the liable, or the owner who is being using that person is liable, or the developer of that artificial intelligence is liable. There is no accountability of this. So there is an accountability gap on this point. At the same time, who will be the responsible? And as in the case, there is a civil, the responsibility is also one of the determining factor, which is not being determined by at any of the stage. Yes, if there is being the responsibilities factor gap is there, there is chaos in the punishment. So yes, there are certain ways like civil punishment will be given the by form of any civil remedies in strict liabilities or vigorous liabilities whatsoever there. But whatever the criminal liabilities, this is the most important question that this is also a punishment gap is being identified in the by granting the legal personhood. We can be solving of all these things. And not only this, moral and ethical issues are also a great things that which need to be addressed of all these things, and the transparent issues are being facing by the artificial intelligence in the legal perspective. So these are the certain identifying the gaps in the legal personhood of a AI. If you more at large, so though if we give the legal personhood tag, how it should be given? AI should be given a complete legal rights or the legal duties, how it is being designated for the corporations or for the ideals or for the environment or to the animals, the legal rights. This is the first question that I would like to point for you. It should be given complete legal rights or legal duties. And the second point that I would like to make you to understand, I want to question is that if the AI is being given the legal rights, only legal rights, but there is a problem to the human individual to act on behalf of the artificial intelligence technologies that are being there. As a human being, if only give the legal rights, there is some sort of problems that comes to represent or to defend the non-human, that is especially the artificial intelligence. This is one of the important questions that we need to understand. Yes, well, for instance, we have not even provided with the legal rights, we have provided with the legal duties. Then what is the consequences of it? During that point of time, the accountability issues, the problem in imposing the civil and the criminal liabilities, this is the utmost important thing. We cannot neglect the legal rights, we cannot neglect the legal duties, we cannot only give the legal rights, we cannot give only the legal duties. We have to have such a framework in the mixed society as the human beings, how we are being there in a society by animals, by environment. Tomorrow we are going to have the artificial intelligence in that way, for which they need to have a legal framework. There is a great importance that need to be addressed and talked about. The artificial intelligence need to be given the personhood. This is the biggest question that has been revolving to us in today's scenario. Yeah, yeah. And at the end, I would like to conclude by stating by certain statements. To achieve the set objectives, it is necessary that we re-evaluate the recurring trends of grant of legal personhood to all the entities within the legal frame. The AI tools should be designed as to enable it to not only to determine with the fair, but also to identify, evaluate, and correct the bias within the parameters laid down by its human error user. This will result in the development of responsible AI, which shall be able to deliver the objectively at par with the moral and ethical stands of ideals, just and fair society. So the granting of legal personhood may in turn result in limited liability for the human concern with manufacturing, with the programming or operating the AI system. This is the whole point that I would like to make you to conclude to by able to, you to understand. Thank you for giving this opportunity.
Thank you very much, Professor Naik, for this very informative and rich presentation. I really like the way that you put the issue of the personhood of AI in a bigger picture, a bigger theoretical picture that reflects the evolution from human-centric, in your term, the anthropocentric approach, to an eco-centric, and then to what you propose as an info or information-centric approach to the personhood. Well, in the light of the time, I think that we can go directly into the Q&A by addressing one of our audience question, which relates to the more realistic or legalistic approach to this question. Freya asked that whether there have been any court cases, or in your opinion, whether there would be any practical solution to solve this problem of allocating responsibility. And then I would follow up with a more theoretical question. So would you mind answering this question first?
Yeah. Let me look into the question once again.
Yeah, it is in the Q&A chatbot. Yeah, it really, I think it relates to the jurisprudence or court decisions.
Yes. See here, that's the point. The court, how they will be understanding. If they have the proper legal framework for which they need to be recognized for that, which has not been happening for that, which, okay. So Dubos is recently, which has been given the AI invention patent. So as in the transformation, if they violate any of those things, there is a huge legal framework issues that are being faced by each and every of AI system that is being in issues that are being dealing with it. So that's the point. There are so many instances which it has been evolving with the questions, what kind of things that need to be provided, how it needs to be provided, in what way it need to be provided. So that's a whole point. The legal, that's the reason I have mentioned a quotation called loopholes in the lawyers. Okay, where there is a loophole, the lawyer has been there. So for which there is a loophole, we need to address for this. There are instances of the cases, but not in a great importance which has been there, where legal stand has been standing for that.
Okay, thank you. While perhaps there might be some further questions from the audience, allow me to pose a question actually in relation to what you have been arguing for, an infocentric approach to personhood. So I think that we all agree that there has been great developments in terms of our understanding of the legal personality or personhood. We agree that there could be other types of personhood in addition to corporation. But if we look into what you mentioned as the environment as the legal person, or as animals as another type of legal person, we may think that both the environment as a whole and animals, which include many species, they are all autonomous entity, right? They exist independent from human being. Whereas when it comes to artificial intelligence, well, we could agree that there could be many types of AI. Some are less smart, which but others may be super AI, which could, in the scientific fictions, they could replace human being in terms of accomplishing different tasks. So are you implying that in this regard, would AI be very similar to environment or to animals in terms of that you regard AI as an autonomous entity or an autonomous agent? Or actually, you don't think that granting personhood would depends on the autonomy of a certain entity? Right? That is, I think that is more a philosophical inquiry to your approach. Yeah, this is my question.
That's the whole point of my lecture that I make you to understand. How, if we want to give a AI a legal person, how it has to be there. Should we consider to the environment perspective how it has given, or to the animals how it has been given? Yes, we can give to the certain AIs like narrow AI or the general AI, whatsoever it has been there. It has been programmed, but it is only to perform certain acts, but not for the superficial AIs. Okay, why? Because they're equal thinking capabilities or the cognitive abilities to the human. It acts autonomously. Okay, so they for which if they does any of those mistakes, who shall be the responsible? So whether to get grant, if we grant it, there will be a certain loopholes, that problems that will be faced. If we don't give, there shall be a problems. Okay, so in between balancing of these two things, they should have a common factor for dealing with it. That's what the whole question that I would like to make you to understand for all the people. We should have it a proper framework to grant it or not to grant it. If we grant it, how we should be granting it. Okay, we can grant it. We can grant it for the narrow AIs or the general AIs, but not for the superficial AI, according to my understanding. According to the animals or according to the environment. Why? Because in those they have the capabilities, but not as to the human abilities. Okay. So as in the same wise in AIs also, in the first or second two layers of the development of programs, that what is been there, they only to perform only certain tasks. That's it, but not the superior AIs where which you have it. They does not have any stringent form. They have come up with novel ideas. They have come up with a lot of things that has been there. As in given an example, there is a Indian movie called Robo, which has been telecasted by Rajnikant. So he comes up with a robo where to protect the society whenever there is any kind of danger. Okay, so but what natural calamities or any kind of disaster that has been happening. But in due process, the robo itself, due to the malfunctioning of it, robo also only creates its own army for the destruction of the society. Okay, so this is the question: if should we entertain these things? Okay, so this is the point that I would like to make to understand for all of you. Okay, I'm not proposing we give or we should not be giving. I'm just proposing this is the question that we have it at need of our. Yes, we have been dealing with a lot of technologies, a lot of things, but there are the legal issues that have been facing with us. Okay, so this is the point that I would like to make clear.
Okay. I just checked, look into the chat room and Q&A. There seems to be no further question. Then for the sake of the time, I think that it would be a right time for us to conclude today's presentation. And please join me to thank Professor Naik for sharing his insights and time with us at the end of this year, this very challenging year. And I do believe that you have provided a very useful and beneficial theoretical framework, which can actually clarify some of the clouds concerning whether personhood could apply to AI. And of course, you have identified many gaps for scholars and jurists to resolve in the future. And I look forward to more opportunities that we could solve this problem together. And thank you very much. And also, as I said, this is the last session of the Law Tech Center's talk for this year. But please be reminded that next year, the Law and Technology Center at the University of Hong Kong will continue to hold a series of talks and seminars concerning the legal implications as well as legal regulation of those ever advancing technologies. So please stay tuned, and I look forward to seeing you next year. May I also take this opportunity to wish Professor Naik and all the audience a very happy, healthy, and fruitful new year. So see you next year. And thank you very much for joining us.
For giving this opportunity, Clement and the University of Hong Kong, especially Grace Chand, ma'am, whosoever is there, who has taken this initiation for giving this opportunity to talk and to give my insights of AI personhood, that what I would like to share with you. I humbly thank each one of you have given this opportunity. I once again wish you also a advance new year, which we should be free from all this pandemic period. Yeah.
Yeah, and the pleasure is ours, Professor Naik. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.